hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots from goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Hey, good morning, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. It is Monday, January 6th, and I want to welcome all of you into the show. We don't have that many games out there on the ice, but lots of opportunity to make some money. Yeah, the Anaheim Ducks definitely were quacking last night. It was great to see them get that nice win. These 4 games today, I think there's really some favorites sitting in a nice situation for us to look at them here on the puck line, especially with teams returning home from a road trip. Really hard to step in front of a Montreal Canadiens team that's been rolling hot, but I do think it is the right way to go. Yeah, it has been pretty cold out here and snowy this way. We're actually going to get a little bit of break in the cold weather. It won't be minus 18 today. I believe we're getting back up to like right around minus 3. So definitely welcoming in that nice warmer weather. My dogs will be happy. We'll get out for a walk today, and let's break down this hockey slate. Now, all odds are provided by FanDuel. For this show, you guys, we're going to have to assume a couple of things because FanDuel right now, let me just see if, we're not able to get anything really other than the sides and the totals on FanDuel. So I'll let you know where I'm looking for those player props, what I'm looking at for those team totals as well as the first periods. You guys know where I sit with what I would lay with juice. I'm not willing to go over minus 144 for juice for a money line bet here. We do have the money lines, that being said. But like first period, if I'm looking at over 1.5, it's coming in at minus 144. I will hit on that. It's coming in at minus 180. You guys know that's not somewhere I'll go. So I'll let you know if I'm liking the side in that first period or both teams to score or the under and where I'm going and what value. You guys know right around that minus 144 is where I hit. So, of course, I want better. Yeah. Hot picks definitely help. That is for sure. I wonder if the Minnesota Vikings last night, that was just a train wreck out there for the Minnesota Vikings, but we'll get into the hockey picks today. So looking at the Washington Capitals, they're taking on the Buffalo Sabres. This is one of the teams that is returning home off a road trip. So first game home here for the Buffalo Sabres off a 4-game road trip. It wasn't a successful one. So sometimes we see teams returning from that road trip and they have that, nice extra punch in them because they are at home. And they went 1-3. But my problem here is looking at the Buffalo Sabres losing their last 3. They got the win of the first one. They return home for this game, but then they're headed back out on the road for Thursday versus the Senators. I don't love this scheduling spot for them. And against a Washington Capitals team that, in their last game versus the Rangers, they scared us in the first period. They weren't able to cover the puck line. The Rangers went up first. We were sitting here with 2 minutes left until they finally got that goal and tied up that first period and then came back and won it 7-4. I look at them here and I do think the Washington Capitals shouldn't underestimate the Buffalo Sabres. This is not a great scheduling spot for them either. They've been at home. This is a one-off road game here for them. They're home on Wednesday versus the Vancouver Canucks. So this is Monday. They get out on the road for the one game. They played on Saturday. I think they still do have the upper hand. We got Alex Ovechkin playing so hot right now. You guys, you look at Ovi and what he's been able to do. 19 goals, 11 assists on the season. He is pushing so hard to break Wayne Gretzky's record. Now, this is what I mean about not having those numbers for you for Ovi for the anytime goal. I'm going to hit Ovi for the anytime goal, even if it's plus 145. I'm expecting Ovi to still be like plus 170-ish for that anytime goal, but if it's plus 145, I'm still coming in. At plus 110, would I still hit it? Yeah, I'm still getting plus money, and I do think Ovechkin against Lankin, expected in goal tonight for Buffalo, should be able to find the back of the net. Now, I think it's going to be a really interesting one for Jason Zucker. Jason Zucker has been really strong out here for the Buffalo Sabres. He's been able to get at least one goal in the last 4 games out here for Buffalo. So if you're looking for that playmaker for the Buffalo Sabres, it would be Zucker. You've got Tuck as well as Tage Thompson is over there. Now, in that first period, we saw the Capitals give up that goal to the Rangers in that first period? Are they going to lock down? I think with them coming out here on the road and then returning home, we could see a higher scoring first period. I like the over 1.5 in the first period, but I also like both teams to score in the first period. Again, I don't have those odds for you. The both teams to score should be coming in right around plus 160 to plus 180. So that's where you should be lying with that. The over 1.5 in the first period. I would expect this to be right around minus 120, as the books probably don't think that the Buffalo Sabres will score in that first period. They're rolling in as a plus 134 underdog here at home. It's minus 162 straight up on the money line for the Washington Capitals. And this total sitting at 6.5. Minus 130 to the under 6.5. I could see this one being one where Buffalo gets 1 or 2 goals in this game. And then are we going to see the Washington Capitals continue to push us over the 6.5? They have every ability to. This team, though, hasn't been getting those high danger shots like we had expected out of them since the break. You're looking at a team that hasn't been registering double-digit high danger shots. And I think it's since coming out of the break after Christmas, they're averaging right around 7 high danger shots per game. The Buffalo Sabres actually have been stronger defensively at limiting those high danger shots as well. So I would take this one to the under 6.5 at minus 130, though. Something I'm just not interested in jumping in at that market. I love that message. Thank you. Thank you so much for that message. He absolutely would be taking the underdog. We know that for sure. Mitch was all about the dogs, and I tip my hat to him. His guts to take some of these dogs some days was incredible, and it was a huge payout there. So I know he'd be all over Buffalo, but I also know that Mitch would be looking at the fact that the Washington Capitals have rolled in, won the last 6 as a favorite versus Buffalo in Buffalo. But the Buffalo Sabres have covered the puck line in the last 6 versus the Capitals. So I do think this is one where if the Capitals go out first, I think Mitch would be happy and I would be happy jumping in on the Buffalo Sabres plus the 1.5 in what should be a lower scoring game. Now, the plus 1.5 just isn't somewhere where you can jump in at the moment. I do think we will see a tighter game than people expect, though. The Buffalo Sabres, my only concern is that return home. So I think at the end of the day, the Capitals get the win in a tighter game. It stays under the total of 6.5. Ovi gets in the, he lights the lamp, he gets another goal. And that first period, both teams score in the first period, and then things kind of slow down. Let's look at the matchup here between Vancouver and Montreal. Now, we do have the odds. I'm going to see if we got anything else, but the Vancouver Canucks rolling in here, minus 128 on the money line, plus 106 for the Montreal Canadiens, total of 5.5. Still nothing in that prop market for us to dive into. They must just be updating some things here over on FanDuel. So don't stress, you guys will be able to get those bets in, I'm sure, later today. But looking at this matchup, like again, expected here for the Vancouver Canucks, not Demko. Demko's still dealing with some back spasms, I believe it is. When we look at Montreal, Sam Montembeault expected here. This is another game where we've got a team that's been playing so hot. Well, the Sabres haven't been playing hot, you guys. They've lost their last 3. They got that loss to Vegas. But when we look at Montreal, they had an incredible road trip. They went 4-2 on that road trip. They were able to get the shootout win versus the Avs in their last game on Saturday. Big 2-1 win. For this Montreal Canadiens team, they have so much confidence here. Returning home off a 6-game road trip, though, is not a position that I want to bet a team, especially a team that's been so successful. If you're looking at one of the dogs today, it would be the Sabres after losing their last 3, struggling on the road to really step up at home. But when you look at Montreal, successful road trip, and then this team went 4-2 on the road trip. They come home, and again, another team that heads back out on the road. They have a couple extra days here at home, but they will be back out on the road on Friday versus Washington Capitals. So it's not a place where I want to bet them here. I just think it's a bad look here for Montreal. Sam Montembeault doesn't have the best numbers, and I'm expecting Vancouver, after they lost to the Predators at home on Friday, to come out with a bang. This is a team that got shut out. So they got shut out 3-0. Still no Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes in the lineup for this team. Still missing them. Hugely impactful on this team, especially Pettersson at being able to get those goals and Quinn Hughes being able to really locked down on the defensive side of things. So without those two players on the ice, we will see Vancouver continue to struggle on this road trip. They're at the Capitals on Wednesday, the Canes on Friday, and then the Leafs on Saturday. So they have the Friday, Saturday back-to-back on deck as well. And then they also face the Jets on Tuesday. So this is a super hard road trip for the Vancouver Canucks. They know their weakest opponent here is the Montreal Canadiens. They know they have to give them absolute hell tonight and get this win, because this road trip is going to be so hard for them. Now, that being said, this is a team that really does thrive on the road. They're sitting 11-4-2 on the road this season. They've had their struggles at home. I'm expecting them to get back in the win column. They've won their last 5 versus the Atlantic as well. So they have been a strong versus Atlantic opponent. Montreal's been good at home, though, you guys. 10-7-2 at home on the season. Again, had a successful road trip. They've been able to cover the puck line in their last 8 games as a dog. So they're not getting blown out by anyone. You've got Nick Suzuki playing so solid, Cole Caulfield as well. And then you have also seen Josh Anderson really stepping up as of late. So you got those playmakers, but again, returning home from a road trip, with a road trip even being a 1-game road trip on deck, I don't love the situation. So looking at Vancouver is the only way I can go in this matchup. I want to look at Vancouver's team total. Now, total is 5.5 in this one. I'm expecting still a 3.5 here for the Vancouver Canucks, with positive money to the over, and that's where I want to go. I do think they can get 4 goals in this matchup. Now, can Montreal get 2? Absolutely. Montreal has proven that they can get 2. But again, in this situation, it's not where I want to put my money. I don't want to look at Montreal and add them into the equation, just taking the straight over 5.5. So I want to isolate Vancouver's team total over 3.5. If you're getting a 2.5 and you're going to have to lay a ton of juice, not where I want to go, you guys. Fire that up to over 3.5 goals then for Vancouver and get that plus money. I do think they can come in here and win this big. Now, the puck line here is interesting. So we're getting so much value on the puck line for Vancouver. I think it's a 4-2 style win or 4-1, right? So the puck line minus 1.5, I think they can cover that. That's coming in at plus 194. They're going to be mad after being shut out in the last game. So I would look there. I'm just seeing again, and we're still not getting those prop bets. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so who I would circle here for Vancouver? Jake DeBrusk, he's been really stepping up. He's gotten 16 goals, 12 assists for the Canucks. Connor Granlund is definitely someone you want to circle versus Montreal here. He's been able to score in each of the last 3 games versus the Montreal Canadiens. So Connor Granlund for the anytime goal, I'm definitely going to hit on. I'm expecting Connor Granlund to be a plus 350 bet here for his anytime goal. So if you just want to look at his points tonight, you should be able to get his points tonight right around plus 120. So again, I'm assuming these numbers, you guys, because FanDuel doesn't have them up currently. I could give you other books odds, but FanDuel really seems to be the most they're the most even across Canada and across North America. So Brock Besser, I would look at 2 for the anytime goal here for the Vancouver Canucks. You're not going to get as much value as you will for Connor Granlund. You should be getting him right around that plus 150, but I do think Brock Besser, someone strong to look at here with Elias Pettersson out of the lineup. So it's all about Vancouver for me in this one. If you really want to look at Montreal, Nick Suzuki and Josh Anderson and Cole Caulfield would be your playmakers there. I'm glad you caught me live as well. Good morning. How is the weather, DePaul, down in Mississippi? So, okay. The Florida Panthers taking on the Colorado Avalanche. This game, overtime. Sign me up for overtime all day long between these two incredible opponents. Now, the Florida Panthers is really hard not to jump on plus 110 on that money line, but Colorado is off a game that they should have won, but they lost. They're coming in at minus 132. They do have the home ice advantage. I've got a gut feeling Florida wins this in OT, but I like the OT bet better. We had a total of 6.5. It's minus 122 to the under. Sign me up to the under all day long. The only way this one goes over that total is if we hit overtime. I do think there's a strong chance of overtime, so the under 6.5 I won't be playing on, especially at minus 122, but I expect this game to start off slow. The first period under 1.5 goals. Both of these teams know that they can't get into a shootout battle between each other. Bobrovsky in net here for the Florida Panthers and Mackenzie Blackwood for Colorado, who's just been outstanding on the season. We look at two teams with such strong offenses, and I know it's so tempting to take to the over, especially when the books are giving us plus money, but I cannot bite there. We've got Florida averaging, 3.3 goals per game. We've got a Colorado team that scored 4 or more goals in 6 of their last 7. So these offenses are firing. We got a great power play here for Florida, converting 6th best in the league at 25%, 23.6% of the conversion for Colorado on the power play. The kill here for Colorado isn't great, so they have to stay out of the box. They're only killing 76.9% of their opponent's power plays, and we've got a stronger kill here for Florida at 80.8. So Florida and Colorado, both of them are going to look to stay out of the box with strong power plays on either side. Florida definitely will have the advantage on the power play, though. I do think they'll be able to score here on the kill of Colorado. I don't think they're going to have that much success. So this will be a live betting game for me. You guys, whoever goes up in the first period, I'm coming back in on the other team plus 1.5. Right now, looking at plus 1.5 for the Panthers, there's no value. Plus 1.5 is minus 235. It keeps ticking up, you guys. But I do think this is a 1-goal game decided in overtime. So if we see Colorado go up in that first period, I'm going to be jumping right back in on the Florida Panthers plus 1.5 at like minus 120. I don't think this comes down to an empty netter. Could it? Yes, it absolutely could. But you look at these teams, you look at how these defenses can lock down as well. And I know they've been so strong offensively, but I'm counting on defense in this one. I'll take the under 1.5 in the first period. You guys, I'm hoping that under 1.5 is like minus 113. I did see a minus 113 on another book earlier in the morning, so I'm not sure if that line has adjusted at all. We have Florida off that nice shootout win versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got that 3-2 win. And then, of course, we have the Avs off the loss to Montreal. That was a shootout loss. So both of these teams coming off extended overtime into this matchup versus each other. Again, I think it can be an overtime game. Colorado strong at home, though, 11-8 and 1 at home. We have the Florida Panthers sitting second in the Atlantic, 12-6 and 1 out there on the road. Again, live betting situation. Now, if you want to look at any of these players for their goals tonight, power play points, in a lower scoring game like this, I don't like looking at that, but I would look at the power play points before I looked at anything else out here. I would look at the power play points for the Florida Panthers. So I would look at Barkov or Matthew Tkachuk for those power play points. I do think they'll come out nice and strong. Same with Sam Reinhart. So that is where I would go. Again, I don't love taking player props when we're looking at a lower scoring game. I'm glad you got Tyler Bertuzzi of the Chicago Blackhawks for that anytime goal. Great to hear. Okay, yeah, you know what? We could see overtime with Montreal. With how Montreal has been pushing things, Groovy Caps, I could see them taking Vancouver to OT and really pushing them to the limits. Last game. This is actually my favorite game on deck today, which I'm surprised by, because you guys know I'm not like huge into the Seattle Kraken. They've been so frustrating in some of these games, but they've made us money in some. They are off the loss to the Edmonton Oilers, and I do think they've lost their last two. They're facing a New Jersey Devils team that's completely struggling right now, but needs to get back on track. My problem with Seattle has been Grubauer, and I do think in this one we're going to see the New Jersey Devils be able to score on him tonight. Now, they're coming in as too big as a favorite to just bet them straight up. Minus 255. I can't get you, actually, let me double check. If we can get you the regulation, no. Nothing's still there in the prop bet market, but I would be looking at the New Jersey Devils up to minus 120 in reg. I wouldn't take it over minus 120 in reg. And with them now, minus 255 on the money line, I don't think you'll get a regulation price like that. I think you're better off looking at the puck line. Laying 1.5 on the puck line for the New Jersey Devils, coming in at plus 100. This team needs to get back on frickin' track. They have been a train wreck as of late. They've been losing games that they should have won out here on the road, and they've got some hard opponents on deck. So they need to get things worked out. We look here at the total of 5.5 minus 138. to the over. I would take this to the over. The juice is just pretty high on that over, but I would look at this one for both teams to come out strong in the first period. Jacob Markstrom hasn't been looking that hot. We know Jared McCann has been stepping up and playing strong for the Seattle Kraken, and I would look at him to really push his team in this matchup here versus the New Jersey Devils. Now, they will need to score on the Devils if they have any chance of winning. So give me the over 5.5. I think you could ult this to over 6.5 as well. I expect this to be a 5-3 style win here for the New Jersey Devils. I think this is a game their offense gets back on track. We've looked at the Devils as of late, and they've been in a complete slump. But you look at them overall in the season, there's still a team that's averaging 30.2 shots on goal per game, and they're going to face Grubauer. Grubauer has an .879 save percentage on the team. He's allowing an average of 3.47 goals per game. He's got a record of 5-11-1. I can't trust Grubauer. Now, the defense here of the Seattle Kraken is not providing much resistance. They're allowing 28.4 shots on goal per game. I expect this New Jersey Devils team that's lost their last 4, that lost to the Sharks on Saturday 3-2, to come out and put at least 38 shots on Grubauer. With 38 shots coming on Grubauer, I expect them to get 5 goals in this one. So I think you can play around with this. I really do think it's probably a win 5-3 here, as I do think the Seattle Kraken, even though this is a team that hasn't got a lot of goals as of late, could see 3. Now, more likely they see 2 goals in this one, still pushing us over that total of 5.5. And if you ult it to 6.5, still pushing us over there. But I think that you could look at the Devils laying the 1.5, and then you can ult it to laying 2.5. Now, before the books locked up, FanDuel did have the ult puck line here, laying 2.5 goals at plus 186 for the New Jersey Devils. I think it's a really solid way to go in this game, putting a little bit on the 1.5 and a little bit on the ult puck line, laying 2.5 at plus 186, because I think their offense finally opens up. We need this team. This team needs to get back on track after losing their last 4. They are sitting second in the Metro still, and they're 12-9 on the road. So they have been strong on the road, losing their last 5 road games. So this is a team that, has fallen flat as of late. They've got a hard schedule once home. They're at the Rangers on Thursday to finish this road trip. So this road trip has been terrible for them. They have to get the win before they return home, because once they return home, they face the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. 2 teams that you absolutely don't want to go into on that losing streak, especially the confidence starts to break here. So they need the win. They need a huge win. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. I'm expecting 5 goals out of them. So it depends on how many you're expecting out of the Seattle Kraken. This team's lost their last 2. They did lose to the Oilers in their last game out, 4-2. That was at home. They're sitting 7th in the Pacific, 9-3 at home. They've got a 5-game road trip on deck, kicking off with the Columbus Blue Jackets on Thursday. So they have been at home. Their kill isn't great. We've got one of the best power plays in the league here for the New Jersey Devils, second best overall at 28.9%. Expect those power play points tonight. Now, if you're looking at players, you definitely want to circle here for the New Jersey Devils. I'm coming in hot on Dougie Hamilton. I think Dougie Hamilton actually is able to get a point tonight. Defenseman, top power play unit, top defensive line. So his shots on goal have been cashing. You could look at him over the 2.5, so 3+ shots on goal, I think is a strong way to go. We look at him the last time versus the Seattle Kraken. That was a game the Devils did win back on early December. They got a 3-2 win, so not that high scoring game. We did see the defense really step up for Seattle, but Dougie Hamilton in that game was able to get those shots on goal. We saw Luke Hughes and Jasper Bratt and Timo Meier with the goals in that game, and I would go back to Timo Meier. Now, Luke Hughes, another defenseman out here, you could look at him for his point and parlay it with Dougie Hamilton. I think it's a strong way to go, but Dougie Hamilton has 5 goals and 20 assists on the season, 25 points in 42 games, 126 shots on goal. So he has been really impactful. Looking at him tonight, could he get the goal? He could, but it's only 5 goals. I think you're more likely to get the power play point for Dougie Hamilton in this matchup. So looking at his power play point, you're going to get great plus money. And if you're getting plus 110 to plus 130 here for him for a point tonight. As a defenseman, we should get plus money just on that regular point. I would look at him as well. So this should be a great matchup. If you're looking at Jared McCann here to come out strong for Seattle, I would take him for the goal. I wouldn't take him for the shots on goal. Edmonton held him to 1 shot on goal in his last game out. He had 5 versus Vancouver and 3 versus Utah. So he's kind of up and down with those shots on goal. I would look at him then for the point and the goal tonight. So that is where we're going, you guys. It is time to do a recap here and get on with the day. So let's do that recap. 25-minute mark, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here every single day. Okay. Recap time. The Washington Capitals taking on the Buffalo Sabres. I think the Capitals come out and are able to win this. They should be able to cover the puck line with the Buffalo Sabres, returning home for a road trip and headed back out on the road for Thursday versus the Senators. But I expect a lot out of the Buffalo Sabres in the first period. I think you look at the over 1.5 in the first period and both teams to score in the first period for this game to kick off hot. Now, I love Alex Ovechkin to stay hot out here finding the back of the net. Give me him for the anytime goal. The Vancouver Canucks versus the Montreal Canadiens. Again, I think this is one where Montreal really pushes in that first period, but this is a team returning home from a very successful road trip out here. I think both teams score in the first period, but ultimately the Vancouver Canucks are able to go over their team total. I'm expecting it to be 3.5 with plus money to the over with a total of 5.5 in this one. I think this could go to overtime, but I don't love it to go to overtime. I just love Vancouver in this one to put up those goals. Now, if you're looking for the goal scorers, I would look at Connor Granlund first for the anytime goal. He's had success versus Montreal last 3 games, being able to get those goals on Montreal. And then Brock Besser coming out. Jake DeBrusk has been strong as well. On the other side, Josh Anderson, Nick Suzuki, and Cole Caulfield would be the playmakers I would look at for the Montreal Canadiens. But again, I'm very cautious with the team returning home off a successful road trip. The Florida Panthers and the Colorado Avalanche. Give me OT all day in this one, you guys. This will be a live betting situation as well. Depending on who goes down first in this game, I'll be coming back in on the other team plus 1.5 if we're getting value on that puck line. I expect one of these teams to go up, probably more likely in the second period. I expect that goaltending defensive battle between these two teams. I'm not going to touch the under 6.5 because I do think this is such a tight game that if we do get overtime, it's because we get a 3-3 game. Ultimately, I think this is 2-2 going to overtime, but I'm not willing to hit that under 6.5 with the juice that we have to lay on the under. So give me the overtime bet. Give me the live betting situation plus 1.5 to the team that goes down. I'm hoping it's Florida that goes down in this one. I do think Florida, with the slight plus money you're getting, holds so much value, even though it's only plus 110. Because this is the Raleigh Stanley Cup champion. This is a team that's off that nice win. We've got Colorado here at home, so they do get last change, but I just have more faith in Bobrovsky, and Mackenzie Blackwood has been so strong. I have more faith in the defense here of the Florida Panthers to really lock down as well. So I'll be coming back in at the plus 1.5. I don't blame you if you just jump on Florida currently at that plus 110. I think the first period stays under 1.5 goals. Look at the power play points tonight. The power play is stronger here for Florida. I look at Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov, or Sam Reinhart for the power play points. If you really want to take something for Colorado, you can't deny Nathan McKinnon, or Terry Lankin to come out nice and strong. The New Jersey Devils and the Seattle Kraken. I do think this is one where the New Jersey Devils get back on track. This team has lost their last 4. They're off a disappointing loss to the San Jose Sharks 3-2 in their last game. I'm expecting this offense to get out of their freaking slump. So give me the New Jersey Devils. If you're getting a team total of 3.5 with plus money to the over, sign me up all day. I expect them to win this one. You can take them in regulation. Again, you guys, FanDuel's odds are down on these prop bets right now. In regulation, if you've got to lay juice up to minus 120. I wouldn't hit it anything over that. I would also look at the puck line here for the New Jersey Devils and the alt puck line. I think they can win this by at least 2 goals. The alt puck line would be a sprinkle, laying 2.5 goals at plus 186. Dougie Hamilton, I will look at for the point tonight. I think he comes out on fire. Jasper Bratt and Timo Meier I'd look at for the goals. I think this is a big night. If you really want someone from Seattle, it would be looking there at Jared McCann. So that is where I'm going. Yeah, I really do see 5-3 style. You know, we've got lots to go with tonight. You're taking the dogs. Yeah, I don't blame you for taking the dogs any given night in hockey. And if you're live betting, it's a really good thing to be looking at these teams. The over adjustment that the books put when we were live for that last game on Saturday, was it the Capitals on Saturday? The Capitals, after the Rangers came out and scored first, we were then able to get the team that we expected to be able to get the win at plus 114 on the money line. So watching these live numbers as they adjust, you guys, if you still do believe in your team to come back in and get the win, is where you're going to find that value, because we know the Capitals in that game came in a position where we had to bet them on the puck line. So if you like a team to get the win, if you're liking them to get the win in regulation, watching for their opponent to be able to score first, that dog to score first is always profitable when you're looking at those favorites. So it is hard to bet the favorites out there. You got to lay so much juice. You got to look at the puck line in a lot of these cases, and really live betting hockey is definitely the way to go. But I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here with me on the daily. If you could hit that like button, if you could hit that retweet button, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, I would so greatly appreciate it. Keeps this show going here live every day on SportsGrid TV on X for you guys. So I will join you back here tomorrow at noon Eastern. You guys enjoy your Monday. I hate the fact we don't have Monday Night Football. It's going to be weird. I can't believe the regular season of the NFL is over, but thank God we still have hockey, and the hockey season is long. So you guys, appreciate each and every single one of you. I will see you back here tomorrow, noon Eastern. Until then, let's make some freaking money. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe.